S.O.S podcast. We're excited to be at the MIC for the third year in a row. Rekindling the old team up here. We've done all three of these together, brother.
All three of them, dude.
Yep. I'm Shawn. This is Brew. And we're sitting here with Curtez Riggs. Yeah, so thanks for the name tag. I can butcher any name. Trust me, I'm famous for it. Before we get into your transition story, so we want to hear that. We want to hear how your transition went. I believe you have a question for him?
I just want to know one thing, Curtez. What's it like to sit still and do nothing for the next 20 minutes?
I feel like I'm missing something.
We wanted to trap you, man. Honestly, brother, we love you. We just wanted to give you an opportunity to sit down, breathe for a second, because this is big. And everyone that's attended, everyone that's presented, everyone that's spoken appreciates everything you've done. So we want to give you a minute.
Awesome, brother. I really appreciate that. I appreciate all of you. I remember this event when it was 140 people and then 80 of them left the second day. You know, so to see how this event has grown over the years, and it's not just me, I operate in the background. Number one is the team, number two is the community, but most importantly it's our opportunity to give back to those that are following in our footsteps. So I really appreciate you for that.
Absolutely, and this has it's been fun to be a part of it, but it's also just been amazing to watch the growth every year. And just every year I come here going, I hope I can find some new people to talk to have them as guests. And every year I leave with 15, 20 people, because you're always getting new people in here, and it's just fantastic. But let's go ahead, let's jump into your transition story. That's what we're about, military transition. So, tell us how your transition out of the military went.
So my transition was a joke. I realized very early on that I had been institutionalized by service. I had consistently been told where to be, how to dress, and essentially what my day-to-day was going to look like. And about 12 years in, I realized that I no longer wanted to be in a predicament where somebody was telling me what my day-to-day was going to look like. So when I say my transition story was a joke, it was a joke for me because I've been blessed with several opportunities that in most cases I curated for myself. I got into entrepreneurship very early on. I started in a digital space. I started creating content, which led me to a relationship with USAA. I started to transition to buy websites in their entirety, which is how I got this brand. This brand was originally called Mill Blogging, and Mill Blogging was a conference that happened when we first started the surge. There were actually service members that were deployed. They were creating content from the front lines, and they were telling their stories. Well, what a lot of people don't know about Military Influencer, this used to be called the Mill Blogging Conference. And it was at the start of it, a bunch of bloggers that were coming together to tell their stories from the front. So around 2015, my relationship with USAA had started to nurture. USAA brought us to San Antonio, and each and every year what they did was, USAA had a strong... They gave us, they incentivized us to tell the story. I can go back on the microphone. And so by doing that, it opened up a lot of doors for me. I started to learn that I could actually monetize the content I was creating. I started to learn that every single website or every single page on a website could be monetized. And most importantly, if you put an offer on a page and it had traffic, you started to be in a position where you could earn substantial revenue. So I won't bore you too much, but I found myself in a position where I was creating content and I was educating the community on how to do that, which led me into this position around 2016. Mike Kelly, the guy we honored on stage the other day. So Mike Kelly came up to me and he's like, hey Curtez, basically this is our last year doing this. And I said, well, hey Mike, is there an opportunity for me to pull this together? So my transition story started as an Army recruiter. I was building engaging events for the recruiting command. I spent 14 years in recruiting, but the recruiting command taught me how to build this, and then my experience in the digital marketing sector allowed me to understand how to grow it. So around 2017, we launched our first Military Influencer Conference, and so I didn't have a formal transition. I left the military wearing a uniform every day to finding myself in a position where I was immediately going into this world of entrepreneurship, and my path was already carved out for me because I planned it well ahead of time. I don't have a lot of struggles that a lot of service members have had. So when I say that I've been incredibly blessed and fortunate to transition into something more, my transition was a joke because I haven't experienced a lot of the pain points that most other service members did.
Hold on, so let me get this straight. What I heard you say was, I learned unique lessons through experiences that the military gave me, and I learned how to transition them into a different space, make them still relevant, and make them lucrative.
That's a very clean way to say it.
That's genius. It's almost like if we took a second to step back from the lessons we've learned and applied them in a unique way, we could still be successful outside the uniform.
Yeah, that's a very clean way to say it, man. To me, I don't have a formal education. I don't have a master's degree. I barely have a bachelor's degree. I got a degree because the Army told me I needed to get one to get promoted. So I went to some for-profit college. If you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see it plain as day. And my college journey was literally completing a worksheet, checking a box, and once it was submitted, I got a grade. When I left the military, I wanted to go into a master's degree program. I went to a school in San Antonio called Incarnate Word. I sat down with an education counselor. I showed him my transcript. He looked at my credentials and he said, hey brother, you know, basically to get enrolled in a master's program, you need to do about 60 credits of your bachelor's over. And this was after years of me spending time to do this. So the Army, specifically my time in a recruiting command, taught me the soft skills that I needed to excel. So it taught me teamwork, it taught me discipline, it taught me the art of the pivot, it taught me never to sit still. And so we use these joking words like acquisition in the military. We acquire what we need to be successful, right? So the Army taught me how to acquire what I needed to be successful. And for me, I'm just constantly putting one Lego block on another. And here's the crazy part that a lot of people don't know me. I've never had a job interview. I've never written a resume. Okay? So I want to put myself in a position where I can show people that there are other opportunities to be successful instead of grooming yourself to leave the military and get a corporate job punching a 9 to 5, when in essence, you've been doing that for the better part of 20 years.
That's a great point. And, you know, one of our shows is on education and looking at the different options that are out there. And it's not just traditional school. And, you know, there's so many other opportunities out there. And one of the ones we just did recently was the Maritime Institute that takes into account a lot of that ship service that people have in the Navy and the Coast Guard and how they can immediately translate it if that's something they want to do. So, you know, being able to do that is just fantastic. Do you think moving forward there's going to be like more sessions at something here like the MIC to involve things like that to help people see more clearly those different types of options?
Yeah, so every year we try to curate this conference from the ground up. So what I like to tell everybody that comes, I don't know all the answers, I don't know what everybody's needs are. I'm a little dated. I've been out of the military for almost 8 years now, right? So for me, what I could say is that if there are ideas, if there are topics that the community wants to see, I'm easily accessible, right? You hit me on LinkedIn, in most cases I'm gonna reply, right? It may not be the same day, but I'm gonna reply back to you. I would just say, like, if there's content that you'd like to see here, as we're building out the conference, which literally starts in November, submit those topics and we can find the best speakers to present on those subjects to make this event more relevant to those that, you know, may want to take a more non-traditional approach.
Yeah, and that's important because this community of ours, right, our community, it is ever evolving. We are ever growing, we are ever changing. Things are consistently different next year, this year, and so the idea that you have of curating it from the ground up every single year is genius because it's something new every single year.
Yeah, because it's something new, we have a lot of people always coming back and they don't have the same experience, right? I always find it interesting why, while this room isn't very packed, right? I always find it amazing that sessions like this have more people in it than our general session does. It always amazes me that, you know, I used to think, or I used to have this mentality that we needed to pay for the best speakers, right? To come to this conference in order to make the conference successful. The reality is people want to connect, people want to collaborate, they want to meet the people that they've seen online and they want to reconnect with people they haven't seen in a while, right? So as long as we keep curating an experience like that, this conference is going to continue to grow, right? It's not perfect, it will never be, right? What I do know is that at the core of this, we have over 500 to 600 people that are returning consumers, and they come to MIC because it's an annual gathering place for them, where they can have a chance to reconnect with people they care about more.
I love it. Okay, so we're at the MIC. Your transition was easy. I got it.
And I'm not saying that to brag. It's just, I mean, I want to be very candid and be, you know, it's just my truth, right? I don't know what it's like to go through the job interview process. I've never had one, right? So there's a lot of stuff that I just can't relate to.
I get it, and truthfully, that's not something to feel bad about. That's, praise God, that's awesome, right? That's super cool that you got that experience because now you need to reach back. Like you said the other day, that you're reaching back now. Now it's time to help the next one in. My bride and I were having a conversation with somebody earlier, and I said, when you find yourself in the lifeboat, shame on you if you sit on your butt and don't reach over the side and help somebody else get in the boat. And that's what you've been doing since you retired. Okay, so as people are coming to the MIC, as they're engaging with the MIC, if you gave them one golden nugget, do not miss, do not fail to do, what would your golden nugget be?
Golden nugget. Every year, people come up to me with a bright idea. And it always bothers me that a week later, they don't do anything with it. I've talked to hundreds of entrepreneurs since I've been doing this that have not only came to me with an idea, but they've executed that idea, and they're now receiving the fruits of the labor that they put in. So for me, is if you have an idea, you have a concept, there's something great that you're thinking about, it doesn't need to be perfect, it doesn't even need to be fully manicured. You just need to take it and take it one step forward and keep pushing it forward every single day at a time.
I love it. So don't stop.
Just don't stop. I mean, if I think about what I would say is my legacy, or as a reference on stage the other day, the legacy of Mike Kelly, because, you know, that guy saw something in me that allowed me to impact thousands of people over the 10 years that we've been doing this. And so for me now, I just want to make sure I'm encouraging those little sparks so people don't stop, they keep moving forward, because there's no telling who they're going to impact, you know? My oldest son, he left service 3 years ago, and it's funny that one of my old non-commissioned officers is now his boss in Charlotte, right? And so the same lessons that I taught this young NCO, he's now instilling to my son. He's being a dad to my son when I can, right? And so my son is receiving the fruits of my labor even in my absence. So there's a ton of young non-commissioned officers, young officers floating around, and when I have an opportunity, I want to just give them a little bit so they can do more of their own.
You know how we've talked in the past about how sometimes we get caught up in the conversation and we're just watching now, we're not even, like...
That's the best part.
Yeah.
When we get somebody like Curtez on, we just bring popcorn.
Yeah. So, man, I love that discussion about legacy, especially, you know, as myself. You know, we have a boy in college, one in high school just turned 16, so you start thinking about, you know, the legacy and what you've taught them, what's going to stick and all that. And you know, I haven't really thought about that as a former NCO, you know, thinking about the fact that there's still NCOs in now that were under me that I impacted in one way, shape, or form, hopefully positive, and hopefully they're passing that on. But that's just an amazing way to think about it. I want to ask you your thoughts on this. This is the first time I heard it in 3 MICs, and someone referred to this today as the largest high school reunion. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that?
So my team would say, see that young lady over there, Lauren? What do you call Mick?
The reunion you didn't know you needed.
She often says Mick is the family reunion she didn't know she needed. Sorry, she was too busy talking, right? So there's a couple of buzzwords that we throw around here. Yes, this is an annual family reunion, right? This is the high school reunion that you missed because you see faces that you ain't seen in forever, all right? Last year here, Sergeant Major Troxel was my first sergeant, you know, way back in 1997, okay? And so the lessons he instilled in me still sticks, right? He taught me what the definition of leadership meant. And so for me, yeah, it's a reunion. I ain't seen that guy in over 20 years. And I saw him last year at MIG, and both of us had a very candid moment thinking about our Dean Street on Fort Bragg and how he used to treat me, right? So yeah, it's the reunion we didn't know we needed.
Is this bringing back memories from your conversation?
Do you know he was at the Vegas, the last one in Vegas?
Yeah.
And he was our guest on the live pod because he was my brigade sergeant major back in 2003, 2005. Sergeant Major Troxel is an incredible human being who's touched thousands of lives and has impacted thousands of young men and women as they transition or as they navigated their military careers. And now that was one of the most fun conversations I've had with you. Was like, hey man, this is what we want to do. We're thinking about bringing Sergeant Major Troxel on. He's like, I don't Sergeant Major Troxel. And that full circle moment, that's what this is all about.
And so I was hiding from him in Vegas because I was still traumatized. You know, didn't want to see him, didn't want to interact with him. So yeah, it was quite a surprise, man.
All right, so we're gonna close this up. Yeah, we're gonna close this up because Curtez is busy. He's super important.
I didn't got comfortable, man. It's like
You heard him, team. He's gonna sit down for a while. Any final thoughts?
So let me just say this. A lot of people look at me and assume that all of this is me, right? Here's the stark reality of this. We can't be where we are without the team that supports us, okay? And so, yes, I could be considered to be a figurehead, but I have a leader. I have a chain of command. You saw Kathy on stage the other day when we did our opening, right? So my vision was this big. So when we come together, bright ideas become force multipliers for impact, right? And so then we take our other Lego pieces. I looked at Lauren over there. She is the most phenomenal project manager that I've ever met, okay? She solves complex issues like there's nothing to it. So when I think about all the things that bog my time down, right? I'm constantly looking for other Lego pieces to put this piece of puzzle together, right? So our team is the force multiplier that makes it happen. And so we don't have 100 people. We're literally 13 people strong that push this massive event on. And so it literally takes us a year to plan and execute so everybody can be safe, comfortable, and take valuable lessons back to apply in their own communities and sectors.
I love it. I love it. Shawn?
That's fantastic, man. And then with only 13 people, that makes this even more incredible. It really does. I mean, the muscle movements that go into this, and just I can only imagine trying to put this together, especially if you moving from Vegas to here, then you got a whole new location to worry about. And
Don't say it.
I'm not.
We promised that was not going to be a question.
I was warned ahead of time. But I just truly want to thank you for putting all the work into this and having this event for us. It really is a great event. I know we enjoy it every year, and he was like a kid on Christmas morning when we got told we were going to Vegas for the first one, and he was so excited to go, and I had no idea what we were even talking about. Really, I think I just retired. Like I didn't even know what Mick was yet. So just absolutely phenomenal. We want to thank you for being on the show. But before you go, we need to test out your arm. We got a couple shirts for the crowd. These are some larges, and we got some mediums there. So if someone's got a large, raise your hand, and we'll see if Curtez can hit you. My army roll isn't good anymore. That's a large.
That was impressive.
All right, this is a medium.
If I'm not mistaken, the Bengals are looking for quarterbacks.
What?
Here we go.
Who's got a medium?
All right.
You gonna take us out? It's been a while for you.
Man, I don't know if I want to take this out. This has been fun. Curtez, man, I'm so honored that you took time. I know that this is a lot. And I knew it was a big ask. When I texted you, I was like, hey man, want to hang out for a couple of minutes?
Dude, I literally thought you were gonna put me in a corner, put a microphone in front of me and we could just have a candid conversation. So when we're Bruce, I'm doing my thing. When I'm walking around here, I am literally looking to solve problems, right? I'm putting out 1,001 fires. I'm making sure everybody understands what they need to be. So when you said, let's do a podcast, I wasn't expecting this, so you got me.
As we call that the okie doke, and we got you a little bit. I also may have wrangled a few of your team in to help us out. But there's 13 of them, I'm not gonna tell you which ones. All right? But no, man, seriously, thank you very much for everything you do. Like I said, we truthfully and honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we just wanted to give you a minute to sit and relax for a second.
Awesome, brother.
So
really appreciate you guys.
Hey, listen, guys, we appreciate you. We love you guys. Continue to tune in. Follow us on all the platforms. And remember, please, reach for the net. Help me out, man. Come on.
Don't drown in the sea of transition. Grasp it to the S.O.S. lifeline.
See, you knew it. That's his.
All right, thank you, everybody.